Hi, I'm Bowling Otter.
And I'm Missy Sandwich.
Welcome to
The BS on the Internet.
Well, it's been another one of those weeks.
It has. It's been a heck of a week.
A heck of a week.
This week went slow. It did. Did it go slow for you?
I don't know. I feel like
Felt like normal for you?
it felt pretty normal.
Maybe because we're at the end of this third trimester. We are in the home stretch. 18 days left.
18 days
As
from
of
now
today
is the scheduled date.
18 days. So in 19 days, we will have a baby.
Yeah, at worst.
At worst.
At longest, because
So
there's
at
definitely some
most,
stuff
I'll
like
have 18
the
days.
OB already said, like, hey, maybe next week we'll be doing it already. So like,
I know.
it's there's been like some things that say it might be a little early, but even if we went to the full term,
God.
18 days.
Oh my God.
18 days.
But you know what? I feel like I'm so done. I'm so tired. And you know what's starting to happen? I'm getting really self-conscious. Like, I feel like I remember I said this to him earlier in the week. I was like, Maddie, like, I almost don't want to go anywhere because I feel like everybody is looking at me. I feel like it looks like I'm smuggling a beach ball. And he goes, you're pregnant. Of course they're going to look at you. And I'm like, I know, but I just don't want that.
I'm like, you know, every time we go somewhere, somebody's really pregnant. Lisa's always like, oh, look, they're about to pop.
But I'm not like,
but you always
like
look
in their face.
You always look and you always say something.
But it is weird when you see people like a lot of people make comments.
Mm-hmm.
We had one today, so luckily it was a good comment.
Yeah, of course.
Where we were in the
bad
supermarket.
comments.
No,
nobody's
it's
ever been
not.
like, what are you, pregnant?
Or some people go like, wow, any minute, huh? And then sometimes you're like, no, I have another 4 months or whatever, you know what I mean? But 18 days though, that's huge.
18 days.
Oh my gosh, like I'm so done. But now we're here this week. Now we're going every week and I keep getting checked and we're kind of in this like mad scramble to try and get everything done. We're pretty good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I have my bag like
if
halfway
it happened
back.
tomorrow, we'd be okay.
I'd stress.
Really?
Because I still feel like there's more to do in his room.
There's like a couple
I'm
shelves
like
that like are just
packed.
decorative. We have the crib, we have the bassinet,
Yeah.
we have the bottles, we have the clothes, we have the
bottles
dresser.
aren't washed.
We
The
can
bottles
wash them
aren't
in
washed.
a second. Like, we're good. We're good.
I know, and it would be a little crazy. I don't have as much
the
meal
room's
prep.
painted.
I know.
Like we got everything.
I want a little bit more meal prep
yeah.
done. I'm starting to do that this week.
From now, it's
We did.
convenience. From this point forward, it's convenience.
Yeah, and especially because I'm really slowing down.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm so glad that we were able to play as much Mortal Kombat as we were. And we're just about to wrap it up.
Yes.
And we're starting to try and bank episodes. So we're going to try and pick up streaming as much as we can in the next 18 days.
Yeah.
But we were doing like
we were trying to bank some videos.
Yeah, we want to try and record as much as we
Some
can.
streaming days to do that.
Yeah, but I think I really want to try and stream this week. I don't know how long I'm going to be able to sit. Right now, after about an hour, I start getting kind of like, oh, I got to get up, I got to move, I got to walk, and or whatever. But I still want to try because we haven't streamed since my birthday.
Yeah.
And I miss you guys like crazy, and we want to talk to you. And I don't want to have this baby and not have streamed in the meantime.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I want to talk to everybody and see how everybody's doing and all that. And it's relaxing for me. It's fun.
It is fun.
But a lot happened this week.
Yes, we do have
that we
something
have to talk about. It was Easter.
Yes, it was Easter.
Did you guys have a good Easter? Did you get your eggs and your bunnies and your baskets?
Did bunny show up?
If you celebrated.
See bunnies?
There was a horrible bombing in Sri Lanka.
There was.
That happened this week. That was incredibly sad. I
Yeah.
got up to pee in the middle of the night and I was awake for a little bit. I had to eat. I needed some crackers or whatever. And I opened up my phone and they were like happening like back to back to back to back. So sad, so messed up. I saw some like grumblings that it may have been retaliation for the New Zealand bombings.
Yeah, that was some of the speculation.
I know. So this is getting like overwhelming and exhausting. And I'm just, oh gosh, so sad. But, wow, way to bring it down, Liz, huh? Moving on. Okay, so kind of on those lines, I saw this week that the Florida Senate approved a bill to allow teachers to be armed.
Yes. There's been talk about this for a long time, right? Because of school shootings. Hey, this is something people have brought up repeatedly. So a state finally did it.
Well, here's what they said. It was mostly along party lines. They said local school boards and charter school governing boards would have to vote on if they would authorize the teachers to be armed on their campuses.
So they made it legal, but the schools specifically still have to vote on.
Yeah, it's a very local government conservative point of view. Leave it up to the local government here. But it says teachers who volunteer to bring guns to schools would have to undergo a psychological test and 144 hours of training. The result of which would have to be approved by law enforcement. Why don't they do this for gun ownership anyway?
They should.
Is what I want to know.
Yeah, they should.
But
I think it should be done for gun ownership, period.
They said Republicans have said having trained armed teachers could prevent similar shootings in the future, while Democrats have pushed for more gun control.
It would be interesting if it was actually like a deterrent, right?
Right.
Like if somebody was. The problem is ultimately if It seems to be in these situations, if somebody wants to go shoot up a school, it's suicide by school shooting, right?
Yeah.
It's basically suicide by cop.
Right.
They just go and do something crazy until they get shot and it's over. Mm-hmm. Like it's somebody who is going to commit suicide and that's the way they want to do it.
Right.
So in that way, it may not be a deterrent because they're expecting to go get shot.
It's
anyway.
how the death penalty statistically is not a deterrent.
Yeah.
You know.
The death penalty doesn't actually deter.
Yeah, which I thought was very interesting. Yeah, that it doesn't change
say,
anybody's
sure it does.
mind.
You're gonna kill them. It's like, yeah, but if you look at numbers, no, it doesn't.
Yeah.
But it would be interesting though. I mean, like, I guess the deal is this doesn't require teachers to be armed, right?
No.
Nor does it even require schools to agree to arm their teachers.
Right.
So in that regard, it's kind of like it opens the door, but doesn't actively take any action, right? And if now that this is done, if there's teachers that do happen to work at a school where they have voted to authorize it already, and then that specific teacher does want to bring a gun to that school, then they have to have a psychological test and at least 144 hours of training.
Right.
And then those results have to be approved by law enforcement. So they are trying to put some factors in here and it's such I never know the way I stand on this because statistically where there are more guns there are more shootings, more people die, right?
Right.
But if
I worry if a kid would get to it.
Yeah, that's the other problem. I mean, like it would only take one teacher to be a little lackadaisical about how they store their gun, where they put it, if they store it armed, and then a kid gets a hold of it. Like,
I know, because kids, I mean, they're not idiots.
They're not idiots.
How many times have you heard...
I feel like this opens the door up for more problems.
I know. Like, how many times have you heard a story of a kid getting a gun and their parents thought it was locked up?
Yeah.
And they thought they had it secured safely or whatever, and they either know the combination or they're able to get to it anyway. But it's weird because I had this conversation with my mom, who's a teacher. My mom teaches elementary school. And she's a reading specialist, so kids who have trouble reading, like they pull them out of class and they go to her classroom. So she has a classroom of about maybe 6 to 8 kids at a time. And she does, I think, 1st through 3rd grade. And they have these drills all the time. And they stress her out like to no end. And she'll be like, I had a shooter drill, an active shooter drill today. And I'll go like, oh my gosh, like, how was it? And she goes, she said to me, I have to take 8 6-year-olds underneath of a table and shield them with my body, turn out the lights, barricade the door with like a table or something like that, and get them all to be quiet for 15 or 20 minutes and not say a word. And I was like, 8 6-year-olds? And I was like, how do they do? And she goes, Liz, like, they're petrified and they're angels. She goes, like, during the day, I can't get them to be quiet, but it's like and that's so sad. They understand how serious it is. She goes, they don't make a peep. She said, and I said, what do you do? She goes, I sit under there and I shield it with my body. And I go, you guys are doing so great. You're doing a great job. Good job, guys. And then, they say like, okay, it's over, and they all get back out, and then they all just, go back out. And I said, and it's so funny because I said to you when this came up a while ago, do you think my mom would hold a gun or keep a gun in her room? And you said, I don't even think your mom would want to hold a gun.
No.
Yeah. No. And I told her that, and she was like, he's right. I would not want to hold a gun, or I wouldn't wouldn't want. But she had this conversation with some of her colleagues. And if you think about some of your teachers that you've had in school, like a lot of them are like marmy, and some of them, or I'm sure would carry one. But just in her conversations with other teachers, they were like, I don't want one. I don't want one.
Well, I mean,
or maybe it's where we live.
Yeah, but this also doesn't affect those people, right?
Yeah,
those people don't suddenly all of a sudden want to bring guns.
Right.
This
it
is
would
only
be
for
the
the
people who
that
want to
want
stand
bring
up
them.
and bring a gun.
But I still feel like it's what you said earlier. I feel like the problem really is that, like, if a teacher brings a gun, if they're authorized to bring a gun, every student in there is going to know it. They're gonna be like,
that's
that guy's
the teacher
got a
with
gun.
the gun.
That's the teacher with the gun.
Right.
And, like, it just doesn't seem that crazy to me that you'd have one or two, like, those edgy kids that want to go in there like, I'm going to find the gun.
Right,
I know where he keeps it.
Yeah, yeah.
And
that's
just,
true. That's true.
I don't know. You could just see so many scenarios. I mean, you're dealing with, like, a lot of times, like, adolescent teenagers who make stupid decisions.
Yeah.
And if you give them tools, like, to make really fatally stupid decisions, sometimes they do.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know. I just hope nothing happens. I know where the heart is. It's ultimately for people, like, it's for parents' peace of mind, honestly, in a lot of ways. And, like, so they know that, like, okay, if somebody goes in and starts shooting up the school, somebody can stop it early.
Right.
Like, you can't always prevent them from getting in there, but maybe you can keep them from doing more damage. That's always the point that they're trying to make, and I get where they're coming from with that. Of course, it's a reasonable point of view.
Right.
I don't know if looking at it statistically, if that's really, it's hard for me to get on board with that. Just from the information that we have, and you're just putting more guns in places where there are kids, and just makes me nervous. And I really hope we don't have any bad stories from this, but we're all, only time's gonna tell. We're just gonna have to wait and see.
I'm curious to see if teachers actually I think you'll have teachers that sign up to say, I'll bring one and I'll go through all the training, but I'm curious to see if they would line up to do it.
You never know. Maybe they do.
I don't know. Would you feel safer in a classroom with a teacher with a gun? Would you feel less safe knowing that there was a gun in the classroom? Like, there's always a kid that gives you the willies. If you're worried that if he or she gets the gun, I don't know. But I think you bring up a really good point.
I imagine a
you
bunch
think
of
so?
them would feel safer.
Yeah, a lot of people feel safer with a gun in the house.
Yeah.
They really do. I can't empathize with that. I didn't grow up in a gun culture. A lot of people can. Yeah. I'm curious to see your thoughts on all of that. Okay, so it was Earth Day on, I think it was Monday.
Yes.
And
Earth Day was this week.
Yes, and this story came out a couple of days later, which I just keep thinking about it, where the world's second largest colony of emperor penguins has not been able to raise chicks for the past 3 years, and what researchers are calling a catastrophic breeding failure. So they said what happened was they've been having trouble breeding on the ice, on an iceberg, because the ice is crumbling. It's not constant, it's not solid ice, so they're not doing it. And then this week, a big portion of an iceberg just calved into the water and dropped 10,000 penguin chicks into the water, and they all died. These emperor penguins, like all these babies, and it's like right with Earth Day and all this kind of stuff. They said, well, this is about them not being able to even raise chicks. This is the first time we've ever seen an event like this at an emperor colony, both in terms of scale and persistence. Occasional breeding failure does occur, but not 3 years in a row, likely due to changing sea ice conditions. They need to remain sturdy and stable until December. Did you see March of the Penguins?
I did not.
If you haven't seen March of the Penguins, march on and see it. But you know what? It's do you see what I did there?
No, I missed it.
You did?
Yeah.
That's okay. It wasn't that good anyway. But they said, while the changing sea ice cannot be linked directly to climate change, I just want to say that, the failure was unprecedented at this site. The first year of poor sea ice conditions immediately followed the strongest El Nino in over 60 years. But I just...
It's El Nino that's warming the Pacific, yeah. So it is, I mean, like, you can't link it directly to climate change, but it is a result of the warming of the climate.
Yeah.
In the region.
Yeah, you know, and you know what they said? They are humongous, 45 inches tall and up to 88 pounds.
Whoa!
Emperor penguins. They are gigantic.
And there's near threatened species on the.
I know. I can't. You know, and you know it's weird because it was Earth Day and I saw all this going around, and I try to be like as cognizant as I can of what I can do to recycle And one thing that I saw that happens in other countries and not in the States, where if any of you are from another country that's not the United States, I'd be curious to see your comments on this, because in the US, we have our trash can and we have a recycle. And that's it. Just 2 separate trash cans. And then our trash comes and our trash goes and then our recycle goes. But I read a little while ago that in other countries, your recycling is divided up into like paper and plastic and like boom, boom. And it's all these different trash cans. And here we just have like recycle. And I don't know why we don't do that here.
Well, because the sorting happens at recycling centers.
Right, but there's a lot of things that we can't recycle that we do, that like, and vice versa. Like we don't know what did I just find out cannot be recycled? Oh, like plastic bags that you get from the grocery store.
Oh yeah.
Like if you go to CVS and get a CVS bag, that cannot be recycled.
Yeah, no, it can't.
You need to. And
that's why reusable bags are a big deal.
Right,
yeah.
And we have reusable bags and all that kind of stuff, but I feel like we could be doing a lot more. Like I'm thinking of like metal straws, things like that. Do any of you have metal straws? Have any of you made any steps to try and fix this? I feel kind of like helpless.
Well,
and what we can do.
It's the problem is cost a lot of the times too.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Use recyclable materials and to do the recycling all costs money.
Right.
You know, so and then like the companies that are like churning out like plastic straws that aren't recyclable, like can't make them if they're made of a different material a lot of times, where they become a lot more expensive. Now, how many times did we see this kind of thing on Shark Tank?
Yeah.
Right? Like they'll be like somebody will come in and have this great idea for a product that's made of all recyclable material. It's super green. And then they ask them like, well, you could have your production cost if you didn't use those green materials.
Yeah.
And you had it manufactured overseas and like you could save tons of money.
That's
and
true.
then you use that money to pay people. Like
Yeah.
So it's like it really, there's a lot of things involved.
Like there's got to be like an overhaul. Like
it's really
overhaul.
it's just not simple. It's not simple. And a lot of people do. I mean, it's a technology thing in a big way too.
Yeah.
You know, as the technology behind it gets better, the recycling gets cheaper. There's better materials out there that are recyclable and reusable. So have to kind of pump money into technology to get that for. But yeah, I mean, and you know, the States were like some of the biggest offenders on our day-to-day lifestyle. Just the way that we're used to living.
Yeah.
You know, like if you compare that to a lot of other areas of the world, it's like we're very wasteful.
Yeah.
You know, and it's hard to change that in your head and just be like, well, like I gotta stop, like, you know, running water this much.
Right.
Or I gotta stop buying this.
See,
really
I feel like
cheap
that's
product,
all we
you know?
can do. Yeah, like I'm running, like if I'm filling up a pot of water or something like that, and then I want to rinse something at the same time, and you leave the water running for 3 seconds or whatever, and I'm like, oh, you know, and I want to go turn it off. I feel
then
just
you have
like little things
a
like
dishwasher
that.
and you run that,
Yes,
and that has
and your
then you have a
washing
clothes
machine.
washer,
Yeah,
and you're
I know.
putting all this water into that and thinking like, wow, is this
Taking
necessary?
a shower.
Like,
and
you know,
like,
I could just have a bucket, wash all my clothes in that, and use a fraction of the water.
I know.
But we're used to this stuff. It's
I
very,
know.
very convenient.
I
It's
know.
very useful stuff. It solves for other problems like sicknesses and like bacteria and keeps things clean.
Yeah.
So like there's a trade-off there, and it's just like it's a discussion we're gonna have to keep having as human beings.
Right.
Forever, basically, right? But as long as we are still continuing to have the discussion. But, you know, we are going off on a crazy tangent on climate change because we are personally, obviously making connection to that in this, you know, although they are not technically making connection.
That's right. That's right. I use this to segue. Yeah.
But it's kind of a tongue-in-cheek being like, but the climate's getting warmer and that's why this happened.
Right.
And that was caused by El Nino. And El Nino happens, but there have been a higher rate of El Nino occurrences because of warming climate. So you can kind of connect the dots a little bit.
Right.
But I don't know. We all know that the climate's getting warmer. A lot of people have different opinions about what that really means and how much that impacts things, how much control we do or do not have over it.
Right.
But I think it's also, we could probably all admit that there's a lot more we could be doing that we're not doing.
That's what doesn't sit well with me, because
That's hard to
feel
get
like
over. It's
I
hard to
could
get
be
past.
I feel like I could be doing a lot more.
The hard thing is, though, that from an individual standpoint, we can't, like, if you say, like, you start riding your bike instead of your car,
right,
makes, like, such a minuscule effect. Even if everybody did that, these aren't the big factors that have to change. You know?
That's right, yeah.
But it's really a worldwide, industry-wide kind of thing that has to happen.
I remember seeing something like, even if everybody on an individual level made all of these changes, it still wouldn't make a dent into what, like, industrial pollution.
That's the real problem.
All of that,
those are the big,
and
heavy
those are
hits.
the big ones,
Like we're not even at the point where doing those little things would make
raising
a difference.
Meat,
it's
things like
good
that,
to do them just to stay kind of cognizant of what we can do, what we can't do. But man, like the changes aren't really being made where they need to make a big difference.
I know. I try and like reuse all I can. How many times am I on you about? I'm like, recycle this. This be recycled. This be recycled. Yeah. And he's like, oh, okay. You know, and you're like really kind about it and everything.
Well, I don't like not recycle.
No, you don't. But sometimes, you know, like, you know what I did this morning? We opened up a new half and half for coffee.
Yeah.
And you know, like it has like a little twist top and then you pull that little plastic tab off. Mm-hmm. And just in me being up early or whatnot, I just threw it in the trash and I went back in and pulled that out of the trash.
Yeah, I mean,
put it in the recycle.
I mean, that's a good thought,
you
but
know,
that literally doesn't make any difference. I mean, that little thing.
I mean, get stuck on a sea turtle.
But if it makes you feel better,
it makes me feel better.
then go right ahead.
Okay, I know, but oh my gosh, what a mess. But if you do anything like that you think you could make a bigger difference, you know, put it in the comments because I'm open to all your suggestions. I don't want to be wasteful, and this kind of thing just doesn't sit well with me, you know.
All right, in gaming news, Polygon did a pretty big piece about, and there's a lot of these been popping up over the last couple of years, right? But about crunch at Epic Games. And if you guys aren't familiar with crunch, it's basically how we're colloquially referring to game industry practices of overworking game developers like crazy. To a crazy amount. And this was kind of interesting here because it sounds like this is happening at Epic Games strictly because of Fortnite, right? Fortnite came out in 2017 in the summer. They did their co-op PvE Save the World game that came out. That was the full price game.
Yeah.
And then like PUBG was really popular. PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds was really popular as a battle royale game. And Epic was like, hey, let's just convert Fortnite into Battle Royale and to try to compete. They did that in like September the same year, I think. And that, as we generally know, exploded. It's literally the most popular game in the world right now. And it's not really close, right? There's been other games that have popped up, like Apex Legends came up did for a little bit. Battlefield, that stuff. But Fortnite, even like I think I remember even there was the first weekend that Apex Legends came out where it like was super popular, everybody was playing it, and during that weekend Fortnite set a record for the amount of people concurrently playing. So it's nobody's touching it yet. Like people are saying it's dying. It's not. It's hugely popular.
Fortnite.
Fortnite.
I hate Fortnite.
Everyone like has to love one game more than another for some reason.
Right.
But, like if you like this game, you're not allowed to like this game. But you know that stretches across all sorts of platforms, right?
Sure.
But the problem is that it got so popular that it's now really kind of changed the work dynamic at Epic Games. I was reading through this really good article. If you're interested at all, links in the description. I highly recommend reading it. But there's a lot of people were saying that like before this happened, Epic was actually a really good company to work for. And that what happened is Fortnite got popular, and they're making millions of dollars a day on it. And they just decided that, okay, now we have to make this the most popular game for as long as we possibly can, turn as much money out of it as we can, and everybody just got put to work like crazy. And there's some interesting caveats here because, the working overtime is officially voluntary, but it's basically clearly expected. What's happening is a lot of these people are contractors, right? So they might have a 30-day, 90-day, 120-day contract, okay, or maybe a year contract. And if they're not working that extra overtime, they just don't get their contract renewed. You don't fire them, you know, but you just don't renew their contract. You can say that they weren't doing as good of a job as other folks. But they have some people that have been working actual 100-hour weeks on some of this stuff. Somebody in here was talking about that they've been basically working 70-hour weeks, working every day without any weekend time for months at a time. And it's just kind of like the air that's put forward by management at the company. Basically, it's like, I hope you don't have anything to do this weekend because we have
need
to
you to
do
go
this
in and
patch.
come in on Sunday.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
But like somebody, this
be a team
I still
player.
watch some streamers play Fortnite sometimes, right? There's a few guys I'll hop in and watch, and I do pay attention to some of the chatter on Twitter from people that are like well-known Fortnite players talking about the game when they make changes.
Yeah.
You have these big patches that introduce new weapons, vehicles, changes to the map, and stuff like that. And I'm curious what everybody thinks about it that play it a lot. And there's a lot of like really negative reaction to a lot of this stuff, especially recently. And there's always this giant, really like vehement call to change things immediately. Everyone's like, you gotta roll this patch back now. Like, change this right now. Don't do this. You gotta do this, and don't do this.
People are demanding.
And they're listening, and they're trying to do it. And they're trying too hard to do it. You know, and it's really messing with people. I mean, this is just a totally unhealthy work experience, but it's interesting. Again, in the case, this is a little different than some of the other ones. We've seen some other companies talk about this happening where it was mandatory. They weren't being paid overtime. These guys are being paid overtime.
Right.
And one thing I was reading on this is that these guys are getting paid really well. Like, Epic is paying them like crazy.
Yeah.
They're all making tons of money. So there are people showing up that are like, they're like, whatever. Like, I'll do whatever. And like, or maybe they come and they just want to scrounge out stuff for a little bit of time, then peace out. But then there's other like people that will come in. The problem is that feeds into the problem, right? Because you have people that have been there for a long time, working like reasonable hours. Maybe they have families. Maybe they have other things they do with their lives, not work all the time. And then you have people that are like young and hungry and come in and be like, whatever, I'm just gonna work 100-hour weeks so I can get a promotion and work up.
Right.
And then Epic's just like, fine, I would rather have these guys. And then that becomes the status quo.
Right.
And I mean, at some point, it's on the company to kind of like, you have to put limiters on people that even want to do that, because you have to have control over the culture of your company.
Yeah, of course.
You can't just only have people that want to work like crazy, because then it becomes an unhealthy work environment. People get sick.
Right. And then other companies feel like they need to uphold that same standard as well.
Yeah.
Because then your audience starts to expect these updates and these, you know, all of this stuff in this timely manner, crazy timely manner. And that's just, I don't know, it's unhealthy. That's
actually happening right now.
Is it? Yeah, everybody
Apex
else feels
Legends
like they get it. Yeah.
Is a game that there's a lot of people on Twitch, and I've seen it a lot, complaining that there's not a lot of content for Apex Legends.
Oh gosh.
And everyone's just like, yo, that last battle pass that for Apex Legends, the season pass, was terrible. They need a new map. They need new legends in there. They need more updates. No, they're not giving us enough content. And they actually came out and said, we're not giving these updates because we're trying to control how many hours we give our workers. And so I feel terrible and ever like thinking like I have to demand this kind of thing, because there's fallout. I can handle it. I still think Apex Legends is great anyway right now.
I know.
You know, I can wait a little bit.
I know. But you know what
stuff.
though? I feel like the people who are very demanding of these kinds of things, like I've been in this situation. I know you've been, I'm sure some of you have been, where you have been worked to death. Like, have you ever worked like a 60-hour week? Yeah. You know, it's horrible. It's horrible. And hearing somebody else having worked a 60-hour week, you know, like, I don't want that for anybody. It's terrible. 100-hour weeks?
Yeah, 100 hours.
Are you
insane.
kidding?
That's insane.
That is nuts. It doesn't matter how much money you're putting. You can't enjoy it.
No, you can't spend it.
Yeah, I know. But I mean, nowadays everybody's in so much debt and I understand the opportunity and you wanting to do it.
Speaking of the opportunity,
can you imagine like being able to take care of your bills and your debt and being able to take care of your family and comfort and being able to be okay? But at what
there's
cost?
A cost. There's another kind of cost.
I know. It's just, I don't know. I don't think it's worth it. But I feel like, and I mean, some people still have that empathy without having worked a 60, 70-hour week or whatever. I feel like if you've done that, it's like working retail.
Yeah.
You know, or, you know, working in food or something. You have like a new appreciation, you know, It's like, hey, dude, I don't want that for you.
Yeah.
I don't want anybody working a 60, 70-hour week. But a lot of these, you know, the people that are really demanding, or some of the people who are demanding of this, a lot of them are like young kids.
A lot of them young kids. A lot of them are also Twitch streamers that maybe stream full time.
Yeah.
That are streaming for 8, 10, 12 hours a day playing the same game.
Yeah.
And of course that's going to get old.
Yeah.
You do that every day for weeks at a time. You're going to be like, I've seen everything.
Yeah.
I need more content.
Right.
And the problem is what Fortnite's doing spoils you, like you said, and it's the whole games as a service thing where they constantly have to be rolling out patches and updates and more content over and over and over again all the time,
right?
In order to keep you interested and make sure you're still putting in those hours.
Yeah.
And then you have a game like Apex Legends, which comes out for free. Nobody even saw it coming. It's freaking great. And then they didn't come out with updates fast enough, and suddenly people are dogging it for that. It's like, we can't let this become like the normal. It's not okay. It really isn't, you know? And I don't know. I don't think this kind of thing is going to get really controlled until they unionize.
Yeah. I agree.
I mean, you think about unions and other industries that needed it for safety, right? That really needed it, and we take for granted the kind of difference that it's made at this point.
Yeah.
This is one of those industries that, for safety, they've got to do it. They've got to just rein it in and be like, let's get control of this. Let's make sure people are living healthy freaking lives. And I promise we can still put out great games.
Quality of life. I know, these are human beings.
Yeah, so like,
they're people.
We'll see what happens, but it's a really interesting situation going on over there, and it's not wholly surprising.
Right.
But if you're interested, links in the description to read on that one. Loosely related, just because a lot of people think this may be a PR move on Epic as a result of this Polygon article that went up. Shortly after that came out, Epic has now thrown down a challenge to Steam, interestingly enough. Now, if you don't know, Epic Games has their own store, right? It's where you can actually download and play Fortnite. You can't get Fortnite on Steam, right? But they've been a little bit more aggressive lately, getting a lot of other games to come in under exclusive releases, which include like Borderlands 3, Metro Exodus, the Last Walking Dead season.
That's wild.
They've really been hopping in for big titles and making sure they had timed exclusives, and they wouldn't get released in that time exclusive for a long while so they could finally go to Steam. And a lot of people had like a mix of reactions to it because Steam's very convenient. They have great sales. They didn't want somebody else, you know, has to own this release of the game, maybe never put it on sale. You don't know what they're going to do. But what happened, interestingly, is found out that Steam has a 70-30 split for the amount of money it pays developers and publishers. So Steam takes 30% of the money and 70% of it goes to the owner of the game. Epic does an 88-12 split. So that's one of the ways they've been able to get and attract more people to come in and release games on their platform, because they say you're going to get 88% of the revenue. That's 18% more than Steam would give you. And now they have come and said that they would cooperate more on these exclusives if Steam ups its revenue share and starts sharing more revenue.
Yeah.
And it starts to kind of be like, why would they do this?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, sure, it's great.
Yeah.
You know, I like that. Sure. But are they now trying to say that their exclusivity is just a power move to try to force Steam to give more money to developers? That's what they want to do? I have a little hard time believing that.
I bet Steam doesn't budge anyway.
Yeah, Steam probably doesn't budge.
Kind of like holding them hostage.
Yeah,
they do. I bet they will. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry, I bumped you. I bet they. I mean,
like, are they that upset?
Yeah, exactly.
They're making money hand over foot.
They are.
You know?
I don't know, but that's kind of a power move, isn't it?
Kind of, but like, why? What do they get out of this?
They think they're trying to change the business.
If you believe that they're actually doing this to change, like they're being suddenly champions of the business.
Yeah, that's
true.
And
like, I'm not sure. I mean, like, why would Epic Games of all companies suddenly be like, we're going to change the landscape of the business?
What other motive would they have?
PR. Though? That Polygon article just came out. And this came out just after that. So suddenly it kind of feels like, all right, well, hold on, we're good guys. Good guy Epic Games. Good guys, we're not doing anything bad for good guys. It kind of reeks of that a little bit to me. Yeah. You know?
Yeah, you never know, man.
You never really do. It just seems like fishy. Like, why?
It kind of is. Yeah.
I mean, for the consumer, this is good. This is good.
It is.
Steam has needed actual quality competition for a long time.
Yeah, they have.
And there's been nothing. Origin came up.
Origin!
You know, for like EA's titles, and that's it. You know,
yeah,
so it's like, Origin. All right, like you really think that dented Steam sales?
Yeah,
it did. You know, Epic started snatching up a lot of different kinds of games, big releases.
Yeah.
For exclusive releases, and it was a little bit more noticeable. And everybody has Epic Game Store already installed on their computer because everybody has Fortnite. So if you have Fortnite, you have this app, you have the store.
Yeah.
You go open it to launch Fortnite. The first thing you're gonna see is a bunch of new titles on there now that Steam doesn't have.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit more of a play against them, but to suddenly be like, hey, we're gonna cooperate more if you start giving developers more money. It's like, I don't know. It's a little. I mean, I would love.
I see what you mean.
I'm really assuming the worst here, but I don't know.
Those chocolate-covered Rice Krispie treats. I hate to interrupt you. Look, it is!
Well, okay.
Snap Crackle Poppers?
Yeah, I'm in.
Wow!
I'm trying to guess the Snap Crackle Poppers.
I didn't mean to interrupt you. I'm very
that
sorry.
was worthy of interrupting.
Oh my gosh. That's exciting. But yeah, I'm curious to see what you guys think about that too. Maybe we're just thinking that there's
maybe I'm just being too
crotchety. Like we have nefarious motives or suspicious.
Yeah.
You know,
maybe a little too cynical, but
I don't know. Okay, it's time for the subreddit of the week, and this week is damn. That's interesting. Damn. So that is. Oh, did I not go to top of all time? I was looking at it earlier. All time. It's stuff that's damn interesting, right?
Well,
there's interesting as F, which is a very good subreddit.
Yes.
I'm not going to say the word because I watch my profanity. But there's some really interesting stuff in here where it's kind of like, oh wow, like sometimes you see a GIF and you go, hey, look at this or whatnot. But like, look at this. I thought this was interesting. Bartender making a drink. Wait till the final step. This is at the top of all time. Check this out.
Okay.
This
is from 3 months ago, so.
Yeah, some bartenders are crazy, man.
Oh yeah.
Like it's
this is an art.
It really is. Like there's these like specialty like cocktail makers. Oh, I can't adjust it. Now how do you drink that? Why? Is like part of the experience.
Well, it's not going to stay there flaming.
Him making it, you just singe off your eyelashes.
No, I think there's
eyebrows.
actually a reason for it, that it burns off some of the alcohol. There's like, I think it doesn't like. There's a way it affects the flavor. I think there's an actual reason for
Is it hot?
Yeah, it's hot.
Is it to heat it up?
It is to heat it up.
You look at the final step though.
What?
Yeah.
Like the arm fold at the end there.
Like
that's
what?
awesome. That's awesome. That is the kind of like drink. If you're at a bar and somebody starts doing that, you just have to watch it.
I know. Isn't that interesting? Damn, that's interesting.
Damn, that's interesting.
Look at this. I thought this was interesting. In the 1640s, the Dutch inhabitants of New Amsterdam built a 12-foot wall to keep the bad hombres out. In 1664, the British ignored the wall and took New Amsterdam by sea. It's now called New York. They took down the wall and built a street, and it's Wall Street.
Wow, that's why it's called Wall Street?
Isn't that crazy?
Wow.
They built a wall. The British ignored the wall and came in through the water.
Huh.
Isn't that wild? I was like, what? Like, look at this one. Look at this one. AK-47 muzzle blast affecting rain. Look at that. Look at that. Isn't that crazy? Just like blasting the rain out of the way.
Wow, that is crazy. I didn't even notice that at first. Whoa.
Isn't that weird?
Air pressure.
I was like really going through this. I was like, what? Oh, look at this. Mozart was a savage. I thought this was pretty crazy. Mozart disliked a performer named Adriana Ferraris del Bene. So knowing her tendency to drop her chin on low notes and throw back her head on high ones, he wrote a song with constant leaps from low to high in order to make her head bob like a chicken. That's pretty great.
There's so many Mozart legends. Like
yeah, like dude was crazy.
Yeah, he was nuts.
Crazy, but that's kind of brilliant. What is this? The uselessness of a katana without proper skills. I didn't see this. That doesn't look useless. Oh. Oh. Wow. Wow.
Yeah, it's all technique, right?
I mean, you think like a knife is a knife. Uh-oh. Is he gonna go destroy it? Oh no. He's gonna chop off his own head.
Oh. That's awesome. I love it. That's so cool.
Wow.
It's kind of a reminder that it's the person the person as much as the weapon, if not, it's more than the weapon, really.
Wow. What is this? The hero who helped create the video game industry as we know it. In the 70s, Jerry Lawson created the first home gaming console that used cartridges instead of having games built directly into the hardware. His technology became the foundation for Atari, Nintendo, and Sega.
That's awesome.
Wow.
A self-taught engineer.
Thank you, Jerry.
Thank you, Jerry.
Wow. And now we're like away from cartridges now, isn't it? Isn't that crazy?
Now it's all digital.
Wow. But, let's see this. Wait. All right, I'm done. United breaks guitars. Hold on. When United Airlines baggage handlers broke a musician's valued guitar and then spent a year refusing to pay for repairs, he wrote a song called United Breaks Guitars that got over 16 million hits on YouTube, reportedly caused United stock to sink 10%, and finally forced them to pay $3,000 compensation.
$3,000? Should have got more than that.
Should have.
You probably got to force more than that if you got their stock to sink 10%. That's
Do
a
they
lot.
not care that they broke a guitar?
Yeah, that's terrible.
I would be so pissed.
Yeah, I'd be pissed too.
I'd be so mad.
Yeah, that's really bad.
Wow. But yes, it is a very damn interesting subreddit. So go check it out. Yes. Okay, and finally, I want to watch the Godzilla King of the Monsters final trailer. The first one we saw was beautiful.
With Claire de Lune? Yeah, it was amazing.
Yes, with Claire de Lune. It's got Millie Bobby Brown.
Yep.
And I don't know. I feel like this is going to be lovely. I hope it doesn't suck.
Yeah.
I'm really curious to see the last one. All right, our volume's up. All good. Headphones on.
Do it.
Here we go.
What we are witnessing here is the return
Over the
of
rainbow?
Titans.
How many of these things are there?
17 and counting.
That's messed up.
Mothra, Rodan, Ghidorah.
Oh my. They're moving like a pack. They're hunting. They all respond directly to an alpha. We stop this Ghidorah. We stop them all.
Is there another creature that might stand a chance against him?
My God, Zilla.
It's May?
Our planet will perish, and so will we. Unless we set Godzilla free.
Oh, yeah, sure. Let's bring him in for a beer. No, this time we join the fight.
Run.
This is Godzilla's world. We just live in it.
Damn right.
It's such a good trailer. That is such a good trailer.
Yo!
That's so crazy.
Look at that.
The scale is insane.
Oh my
You know?
God, we have to see it.
Yeah, we really do.
Oh, we're gonna have a baby.
I know, the baby. We got so much stuff to see. We got so much stuff to see.
Oh my God.
We have way too much stuff to see.
That looks unreal.
Yeah, that looks
You know
amazing.
what we could do? We could like call our parents.
Yeah.
And they'd be like, "Oh, we need to get out of the house."
Yeah.
You know, like we've got this new baby. We're not really sleeping. We need a little break. And they'll be like, "Okay."
Yeah.
And then we can go to the movies.
Yeah, let's do it.
Oh.
Let's use the parents.
Let's use our parents.
Go see a movie. Yeah, that
Oh my
looks so
God.
good. That looks so awesome.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Wow. Oh, I really want to see that. I love this angle that they're taking.
Yeah, it's really cool.
that they're using the words monsters, but like they're these like creatures that we need that
they're dormant under the earth.
Yeah,
they've been there the whole time.
Wow, man, that is awesome. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. Thank you guys for letting us know that this came out. When it came out, a bunch of you tweeted us and we're like, watch it. And wow, that just looks unbelievable. Oh, I'm so excited, man.
Really, really cool. All right, guys, so that was this episode of BSL the Internet.
What a week!
If you want to read about anything more that we talked about, links are in the description.
That's right.
And don't forget to watch us on Twitch.
I do have to ask, how far from the...
Whoa! Vanished into the hands of darkness.
Oh my god!
And if you like this video, please support us on Patreon. Click like, share, and subscribe. And we'll see you tomorrow. Thanks, bye!